Hello, everybody. Welcome. Oh, I didn't turn my monitor off.
Ruh-roh.
Got myself once again.
Goofing.
Played
Will.
yourself, William.
You're doing a great job. The monitor's fun because it's like a half second after what I say. So if I tell myself that I'm doing a great job, I hear it a half second later, and it's like somebody's telling me that I'm doing a great job.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our stream. This is live from the apocalypse, and we stream tabletop games mostly for aid organizations, charitable causes, good stuff like that. Everything we make off of these streams, every bit of money. Whoa!
Gonna kill that dog.
Hey. Thanks.
He's the bad guy.
That's
Oh,
3
boy.
dogs, right?
As many
Now he has
dogs
to
as I
kill-
want it to be.
Now he has to kill 3 dogs.
Oh
No, thank you so much. You are welcome to sub, as Raft just very generously did. We absolutely appreciate it, and when Twitch pays us out, we take that money and we give it right back to these worthy causes that we platform here. So, even if you're subbing, even if you're giving us bits, does Amazon take the bulk of it? Yes, but does some of it still end up at the organization that's good? Yes, it does. And so feel free to do that if you want to. It helps us in metrics. You get emotes. You get access to Haz. He's a cute little mushroom guy.
Access to
Um,
flexes.
Access to
Mhm.
flexes. Well, that you got to donate if you want that.
I lied.
That's for subbing. If you want to donate, you can hit exclamation point PP donate. Yes, it is funny. Yes, it is the real link at any point during the stream, and it'll call up the link, and you can use that to throw some money to Planned Parenthood. If you're for some reason not familiar with Planned Parenthood, they are one of the most important organizations in these United States where we all unfortunately dwell. They provide access to reproductive health resources, information, safe abortions, and for a lot of women and some men, it is their only source of healthcare in the entire country. And so everything they do is super, super important, and we want to support them. We want to give them money. So
Yeah.
if you donate money, we will put one advantage into the pool for the players to choose from, and they can use it as they need it for advantage while they're playing. Yeah. Also, the McElroy brothers will yell at us. I just bumped my microphone with my White Claw can.
Good job.
Um,
Noise.
Not sponsored, but get at me, White Claw. So yeah, the McElroy brothers will yell at us. It'll be good. They'll interrupt what we're doing, and we'll have to stop talking. So if you hate what you're hearing here, then I guess do that, and then we'll have to shut up for about 7 seconds exactly. If you're not following, feel free to go ahead and follow. We go live a lot on this channel. We do a lot of streams, a lot of fun stuff. This is Class Reunion, which is a D&D 5e homebrew adventure. There's the description right there. And I think that's all of the housekeeping pretty much. So without further
Use
ado,
your Prime account.
Oh yeah, do that. If you have Amazon Prime, use that because then you already have it. You have a free sub, and
And
Amazon-
you get access to the OnlyFans live from the apocalypse.
is that just more flexing or what? Raph,
Did
are
I
you
get
in
a
charge
bot
of that?
link?
Did
Did
you
I get a
make us
bot
an
link?
OnlyFans?
Flexing different parts of your body.
Did you?
Mhm. If you made us an OnlyFans, you have to tell us. Like, that seems
Yeah. It's just
important.
screen
Like,
grabs of every time people flex.
good. There are probably two things on there then. So give us your money.
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll see how many flexes happen tonight. That's not an invitation, unless you want it to be. Anyway, moving on from that, we will dive right back into our adventure. Last time, we left our heroes in the mystical world of Anoon. They had completed the Gritsky Championship Cup. They had won the Gritsky Champion Cup. However, unfortunately, they were forced to play with substitute players due to their normal team being imprisoned. As it turned out, they were imprisoned by Mansar Dane, their benefactor and the organizer of the first Anoon Gritsky Championship, in order to bet against them. He's trying to sabotage them. But our heroes prevailed. They won the tournament. They kicked the shit out of Mance Ardain, and then they started Anuin's first sports riot in order to break their companions and teammates out of the labyrinth, the maximum security prison underneath Lamplighter Tower. Lamplighters being sort of the law enforcement of the city of Calderon. You went through that labyrinth. You freed some prisoners and then realized you probably should stop. So you did. And then fought a bunch of Lamplighters,
Yeah.
fought a flesh golem. It was a flesh golem, by the way. I don't remember if we touched on that.
I think it was pretty obvious given
Was it?
it's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you say so.
Flesh golem.
I didn't want to assume. And then you found the creepy doctor who made the flesh golem. Right as he was about to cut out your teammate Kira's heart.
Oh yeah.
Kira later informing you that he had been told by the doctor that there was a muttering something about that being the key to eternity or living forever or immortality or something like that. Weird gibberish. Anyway, you beat up that doctor. You left him there, and then you tried to escape, but were knocked unconscious by a gaseous substance of some kind as you were trying to leave through the tunnels. You woke up in very comfortable arrangements, and then met a large, bearded, gingery man with a huge sword, who told you that he was Muldus
Daddy Three.
Calderspur.
Oh.
Daddy 3, that's right.
Poor man.
Speak.
For Max. Muldus Calderspur, one of the founders of the Kingdom of Aloran, thousands of years old, because he is one of the quiet 999 people who were killed in a dark ritual thousands of years ago and are now trapped in an eternal cycle of undeath, life, and death. Currently, he is alive, and he spoke to you, and he told you that Ryan Beckinsale, your compatriot from Ohio, who unfortunately died in the first session, was working for him, an agent of his, so to speak. And he sort of extended the same offer to you in light of your inciting a riot and breaking into the jail and fighting a bunch of cops. He said that he would take you on as one of his R.I.P. Ryan, pour one out.
Yeah.
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 All right, Ryan.
R.I.P. Ryan. He's definitely dead. And then he offered you a job, essentially. He said that if you worked for him, you took on Ryan's role as a sort of an agent of his, you would be protected, and your teammates would be protected as well. And you'd have the ability to investigate some of the strange writings that you found in Ryan's composite notebook, which hinted
And
at
his
a connection.
diary.
His diary, which hinted at a connection between all of you and the Danan, the ancient, fey, tyrannical lords, long since banished from Anun. You were sort of generally informed of your first mission would be to investigate the entire disappearance of the town of Kalefell, which at least one of your number is very intimately familiar with. But tonight, that is not where our story begins. Tonight, our story begins farther north, miles and miles and miles away from Calderon, the capital city of the Kingdom of Aloran. And here, as we sort of travel over the hills, over the highlands, into the north, as it grows colder, the air grows more chill, darker somehow, heavier, more suppressive. We see rising barely out of a valley, out of a deep, deep valley, the very top of a twisted iron structure. You have no idea, we have no idea from our perspective exactly how tall it is, how deep it is in the valley, but only maybe 100 feet or so rises above into the chill air. And from inside of this dark, twisted iron structure, a unsettling green light emanates forth, casting a small radius of light in an otherwise dark, sort of evergreen forest that surrounds it. And just a stone's throw from there, just as the most obvious and recognizable landmark, in that same forest, along the road, is just emptiness. Just a stretch of flat nothing. Just ground. No trees. No rock. Certainly no houses or structures of any kind. Just an absence. And no sign of any destruction or anything of the sort. Now back in Calderon. Your conversation with Moldus Calderspur drew to sort of a natural close, and he rose from the table, set his hands down on it, sort of pushed himself up to his feet, looked around the table at all of you, and said, all right, well, I imagine you've got a lot to talk about amongst yourselves. I realize that this probably wasn't an offer you were expecting to be given, or circumstances that you were expecting to find yourselves in. If you'd care to talk about it amongst yourselves, I can give you the room, or you're welcome to wander. His eyebrows go up, and he kind of like looks around at the rest of you.
No?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of a good idea. I mean, I'm all in, but we might as well talk about it.
Well,
I think what Max means is we accept the room.
No, what I'm saying.
Well, Max, you and I need to have a conversation first. So, yes.
About what?
About some things. So, if you could just give us like 10, 15 minutes, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
no one should bother you in here. And then he leaves the council chamber, leaves you four alone in it.
Okay. Once he's gone, Kelly will be like, cool. All right. So, he said that joining his organization clears us from the whole starting a riot, breaking into jail, fighting lamplighters thing.
Sounds good.
That's great for all of you. I actively commit crime in this town. In this country, really.
That's not good.
It's for a good cause. But I don't know how that's gonna play out with this whole whatever organization this is. Is this like high government? I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna work out.
I mean, I'm assuming they know about you and your deeds.
I would
Maybe they
hope
can just.
not. That's not
Well,
something I would
then-
assume.
Are you, like, what are you? What are you scared of? Do you think they're going to find out?
I'm worried they're gonna try to stop me.
Well, we'll just punch them.
Yeah, you know, they could try. What are you gonna do?
We're not signing
I
a contract.
Oh,
Are we sure about that?
we might
I
sign a
don't know.
contract. Listen,
Just,
I am.
If anybody asks you to prick your finger and write your name in blood, don't.
Yeah, deal. Yeah, I am deeply invested in this whole first part of this offer, which is the whole go find out what happened to Galfel, because I kind of live there,
Oh,
so that's concerning. I want to
Kinda?
help with that.
Yeah, what do you mean? I mean, you don't live there anymore because it's gone. But
Max!
Correct, Max.
it's fact.
Technically
What?
right. Technically correct. I
Technically-
mean, maybe. Could be
Technically
somewhere.
correct. There
Could
are
be
people
somewhere.
who did live there last I was there, who I would like to check on. So, thank you, Max.
I mean, doesn't mean
I'm
they're
just
gone.
saying. I'm just saying. You guys accepting is fine. Me accepting might put in jeopardy the fact that I am actively smuggling goods into an undead city.
I mean,
So I'll
probably shouldn't
join.
say that out loud here.
You
Maybe
know
write it on paper and then show the paper
And then-
to us.
Yeah, and then we'll burn it.
Strictly that.
Or
Take
eat
that
it.
from the record.
What I'm saying is I will join to help you guys. But I need you to understand that if a time comes where it's going to be this or that, I'm choosing that.
That makes
Deal.
sense.
All right. As
That's
long as the four of
on
us
me.
agree.
And the truth is, I mean, Ryan
Yeah, right, guy.
Ryan obviously trusted this guy, which would usually in any other circumstance not give him any credit at all, but it seems like we're supposed to be kind of going down this path, and I don't know, whatever you want to do, doesn't affect me. I'll go when you go. I don't know, maybe I'll stay. I don't know. It's, you make the decision. Your life is, So, anyway, yes. Agreed.
Agreed. Thank you.
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
Exactly.
Do whatever you want, whenever you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one can touch us now. If we say yes, we can do anything.
Do you think we get a badge and then we kind of just, before we do some illegal stuff, just show them their badge? Be like, I'm allowed to do this because I have a badge.
This is my badge.
That's pretty cool.
Like,
A Gritsky stick, this is my badge.
this is my badge. I put on my battle axe.
And Hunter just looks at Kelly and is like, I have no idea what's happening over there.
They're enjoying themselves. Well, actually, Kelly will be like, would this be a problem for you? You came down here to get your brother and go back into the woods, didn't you?
Hmm.
I did.
Is it going to be a problem if you don't go back to the woods?
I suppose we'll see. What I care most about is that he is safe, and it sounds like agreeing to these terms will ensure that he is safe. And so if that's what I have to do, I'm willing to do it. And like what you said, if the time comes when I'm pulled in another direction, that may mean that I walk away too. But for now, I'm in.
Also,
Okay.
I heard you don't have to give them any you don't have to give them your ID. You can just put it up, like you can just show it to them. You don't have to, give them anything.
You just put your identification against the window.
You just put it up against the window. You're fine.
Did you guys keep yours? I still have mine, and it's like a really like cracked ID from Ohio from 10 years ago.
Avalon High School.
Yeah,
student ID.
Yeah, it's not
High
my
school
driver's
ID.
permit or anything. It's the student
Yeah.
ID.
You know, I did keep mine. In that town that's now gone.
Oh yeah, that's well, you know what? Now we got something to find. Now
Yeah.
we're ready to go.
At last, we have something to find
There you go.
in that
We
town
have-
that you used to
Gotta
live
go.
in.
I can't go back to Ohio without my high school ID. It just won't work.
It's true. They'll never let you in the building.
The turnstile won't
Um,
let me through.
That's actually a really interesting question. Does Hunter still have theirs?
Nope. That is
No.
definitely gone.
That makes
They
sense.
will never be able to return to their high school in Ohio.
Darn.
That's fair. I actually think if you're down for a second, they're like you sort of see like Max and Wayne pull out their IDs and then like Kelly mentions, oh, I had mine, but it's in the town, and I think like you sort of like drift away from that Hunter, and you sort of drift back to like some of your earlier days in the Heartwood when you were first sort of embarking on the rituals to become one with Ak, to become one of the Orn. And you were just sort of constantly receiving these warnings that for Orn, I think probably you had these conversations over and over again with some of the adults in your circle. In particular, I think probably I think probably Noka would have been the one to spend the most time sort of trying to talk you out of this, and just sort of emphasizing sort of over and over again that, for Orn, becoming one with Ak, with the sort of planet itself, meant like beginning to be someone. That was sort of the beginning of their lives. And for somebody who had already lived, who had already had a life, it was impossible. And so I think you got these vague warnings over and over again from Noka specifically. Everybody else was whether or not they were encouraging you or humoring you, you never really knew. But for the most part, it was always Noka who would say, if you do this, if you embark on this path, I said it again, embark.
You
If
did.
you follow, I did. If you follow this path, you will have to give up who you were. You will have to sever the ties of your former life. This is the way of Oranak. And when the time came for you to complete the ritual, I think part of it was burning everything that you had brought with you from Ohio, including your student ID.
That definitely
then
tracks.
You sort of are sort of jerked back to reality as there's a knocking on the door of the chambers, and it opens enough for Moldus to poke his head in again and say, if you need more time, that's fine, but there will be some of the council members will be using the room eventually. You're welcome to keep deliberating, but you'll probably want to leave unless, of course, you've decided already.
Max looks at Kelly.
Kelly kind of like looks back at Max and kind of is like, and then turns to Moldus and is like, we're finished. We accept.
Well, very well. Let's get to work. You've got a lot to do. Follow me. And
Yes,
he leads
sir.
you. He leads you out of the council chambers, and then out of Calderon Castle, out into the streets of Calderon proper, in the very upscale part of town, the wealthy nobility part of Calderon. And you pass a lot of people dressed in finery and expensive looking clothing, carrying expensive looking objects. You see the first thing you notice is that by far predominantly you only see humans. And you notice a few other things. You notice that quite a few of them are openly carrying or flaunting Barrowcraft items pretty proudly, sort of showing them off to each other, clearly sort of putting them on display as an indicator of wealth and status. You see a couple I think you actually see, what are your passive perceptions?
Ooh.
Nine.
10. Boom.
16.
15.
Okay. Very fittingly, Hunter and Kelly, you notice that there is a group that you walk past, a sort of a crowd that is gathered, talking to a figure who has his back to the wall of a very expensive looking, very well made building. Some sort of if you had to guess, it's some sort of like wine shop, winery.
Ooh.
And this person, this figure, everybody seems seems to be very rapidly paying attention to what it is saying. It is heavily cloaked, heavily robed, but as you walk past, almost in slow motion, Kelly and Hunter, you happen to glance over at sort of exactly the right moment as the hood, it tilts its head in just enough of a way that the shadows of the hood fall back a little bit, and you get a glimpse of this sort of this yellowed skin sort of stretched very tautly across whatever skeletal structure is underneath. And Kelly, you just get a glimpse of these like 2 points of fiery light within the depths where eyes would be, but not the blue of eyes. These sort of flicker almost like candle flames. And it is not the first time you have seen eyes like that. You have seen them many, many, many times within the walls of Barrow. But Max and Wayne, you don't notice, and
Yeah.
And,
I'm making fun of Wayne's
uh,
class ID.
He's got like a really like weak mustache going that he grew out for a couple weeks because he knew the picture day was coming.
Dude, you look the same.
I know it. You know, there's not like a full beard, but it's like, don't I know it?
Kind of a dork back then, huh? Well, I
Kind
can't
of a
believe I
dork
didn't make
now.
fun of you.
Well,
I
you
think-
know,
You made it?
we had a good time with those swirlies, didn't we? Or, you know, one of us had a really good time.
I had a great time.
I bet you did.
I wish there were toilets here.
for like a lot of reasons. But
I think if Kelly also notices Hunter notice that person, she's just going to put her hand in like the middle of their back and just push in a just keep walking type of a way. She's not going to say anything, but she's definitely just going to be like.
And I feel like as you know, they definitely do not protest that, but they probably do kind of just say under their breath, "We're going to talk about that later, right?"
Probably not.
Okay.
Moldus Calderspur also does not appear to pay any mind to this skeletal figure in the robes, holding court with all of these wealthy, noble people. He just sort of keeps walking, striding away. He does attract a certain amount of attention everywhere he goes. People do stop and pay and look at him, follow him. You see a lot of eyes tracking, people sort of whispering to each other. Some people greet him, very, very boisterously, and he, puts on a very broad, friendly smile. He calls back to them in a booming, very warm voice. And then, like, the second he's out of like earshot and away from them, it just drops off of his face, and he's back to sort of like
Cool.
being scowly and serious looking. He leads you out of the wealthy part of town. Calderon Castle is sort of on this hill, and in fact, all of sort of the noble sections of the city are on the same on the same sort of rising hill above the rest of the city. And he leads you down off of that and into one of the middling districts, sort of full of regular folk, people minding their own business. The diversity of Calderon increases drastically as you enter this part of the city, and you actually pass through a set of gates. There's a wall that separates the middle districts from the high districts. The gates are never closed, but the message is always there that they could be. And he leads you through those and into the middling districts, and takes a very winding route through them before eventually stopping in front of a very unobtrusive door, where he raises one huge fist and knocks in a very distinct pattern against it. At which point it opens, and you see Kira on the other side. You're the winger from the Raging Mammoths. Kira is a dusky-skinned Tua, so very, very delicate features, pointy ears, deeply ebony skin, but very bright and observant eyes that sort of never stop moving. Takes a step back to let the rest of you in to this room, and you realize pretty quickly that it's a safe house or something like that. He did assure you. Actually, what you see inside, you do see Torin, Hunter, the other member of your circle, your brother, who is just a very large Orn, sort of a green-skinned, hulking figure, one arm distinctly bigger than the other, but with those same patches of bark all over his body that you have, Hunter. And then the last member you see is Kaz, Wayne, your adopted brother, who is no, I'm blanking.
Dide? Is he a Dide?
Thank you.
Yes,
I was
your
like, it's
brother,
not
your adopted
Danan,
brother.
It's
No, it's not
No.
Danan. Your adopted
Not
brother, who is a
Danan.
Daide, is sort of a squat but very muscular, shaped humanoid with a greater than your average human amount of body hair, and then just sort of two enormous bat-like ears sort of pulled back and braided together, and then a just sort of a scrunched up bat-like nose and some sharp teeth. And yeah, they're sort of just sitting around waiting. Kira sort of taps his foot on the ground as you step in, throws his hands up in the air and says, "Well, it's about time. We've been waiting for hours." And Moldus doesn't look amused, but he just moves in and he says, "Yes, my apologies. The business that we had to no, that's the wrong accent. That is Torin. Yeah, my apologies. The business that we had to discuss ran a little bit longer than anticipated, and your comrades were slower to rise than I anticipated as well. Unfortunately.
So sorry.
He gassed us. Don't apologize.
We're slow.
Max.
It's fine. I'm sure you'll do better next time.
We will.
So, I'd like to discuss our business moving forward now that we're safely away from any prying ears that might be listening in.
There's no one else in this room, right? It's just us, him, and the team.
And your birds at the window.
Yeah, I guess.
That's and the
They're
ravens,
fine.
yeah, that are perched outside of the window,
They-
just kind of like intently staring in, unmoving and unblinking.
Just close the window.
They're good
fine.
birds, Max.
They're
good
fine.
birds.
They're good for
Um,
conversation, yeah.
They don't talk back,
But I could
which is
talk
probably
about
a plus for Max. Yeah.
In my head, they do. We've had a long time.
Moldus gestures to the table where Kaz is seated. Torin is sort of sitting on the bed. The table's not really built for someone of his size. And Kira goes back to leaning against the wall. You're pretty used to this from Kira. They're very broody. He's
Kira's an
very broody.
edgelord.
Very much a wall leaner. And Moldus says, I had a feeling that it would put you at ease to see that your comrades are safe, as I told you. I promised you that they were being looking after, and I can assure you that no one knows they're here, except for you all now. And hopefully with that setting your minds at ease, we can start talking. I've shared a little bit about what it is I'd like you to do. But before you depart, there are a few loose ends that I'd imagine you'd like to look into. If you were to accept my offer, which it sounds like you are, you'll be part of a group of operatives spread out across this kingdom. Well, across this world, to be honest with you. All of whom report directly to me. And it's their job to keep the flow of information secure, to ensure that anything that I need to know to ensure the safety of this kingdom and its people reaches me. In short, should you accept my offer, you'll be wyverns.
Wyverns.
Yeah, have any of us heard of this term before? Like, is it like something you like, oh, they're wyverns about?
No. It's definitely not like that.
Hmm.
I will let you roll. We'll call it history.
Me?
All of you.
Are
if you
you
want to.
sure
Well,
about that?
I mean, Hunter, you can, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hunter's just going to be looking at like the rest of them just to see if anybody seems to have a spark of recognition because they're like, yeah, I've got.
I'm nodding along. I know exactly what he's talking about, and I rolled a 7.
I was gonna say, Kelly, I got a 10, so Kelly's just sitting there just like,
Mm-hmm.
15 DM. Flat.
15. Wow.
Cool world
Um,
traveler.
Yeah, that is
that's
true.
true.
That is
Mhm.
true. With a 15, it does sort of spark a memory in you, just something that you sort of overheard once in passing. While you were passing through an inn on the road traveling with the team, sort of a very unsavory kind of place. You did sort of just walk past a table of hooded individuals skulking in one of the back dimly lit corners, talking very animatedly with one another in hushed tones, seemingly chiding each other for a job or something that went wrong. And you just sort of distinctly remember the one getting chewed out the most, getting fed up, and as right as you were walking past, sort of slamming his fist down on the table and said, "I told you there was a wyvern there. What was I supposed to do about it?" And you just sort of like were like, "Oh yeah, I mean that makes sense. Wyverns are pretty like terrifying. I would probably have done the same thing." Now you're sort of like, "Oh, was it literal, or were they talking about this?"
I
Hmm.
think we're about to become super spies. So everybody put your big boy pants on.
Not
Um,
already wearing them.
Kelly just
I
looks
was
at-
wearing my little boy pants. Now the big boy pants are on, ready to go.
Actually, speaking of your big boy pants, on the bed behind Torin, you do see all of your gear, sort of laid
Yes.
out neatly.
Yay!
I was
Um,
gonna ask.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
honestly forgot about that.
I forgot we didn't have.
yeah.
No, we're wearing basically the black uniform that they left us, and Hunter's
Oh,
wearing
yeah.
a blanket. Hunter's
We-
just
No,
Earlier-
I got a cloak. I got a
Oh, that's
cloak,
right.
So
You didn't get a
I
cloak.
That's
did
right.
not look any more
They did not make you
conspicuous.
wear a blanket through the richest part of the city.
Right, right.
Imagine.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, what we said was that it was a sort of a tunic from a period of Lauren fashion where like everything had a hood.
Yep.
It's like a very Assassin's Creed time
Yep.
in
Yep.
Lauren's fashion history.
I do recall this
but yeah.
conversation.
And they are
All of
keeping
your
it
gear.
110%.
It's fair. It's a good shirt. All of your gear is laid out on the bed, so you can sort of like start strapping yourselves into it and equipping it. Your big boy pants are there, so you're ready. You're good to go.
Kaj, help! I need to get for the buckle on the back. Kaj, come on now, get the buckle. I got 2 buckles that need buckling back there.
Why didn't you put the buckles on the front? I told you just put the buckles on the front.
Hey man, I didn't. Mance gave me this armor. We found out that he's a kind of a piece of shit. Are you that surprised?
You
No.
literally said put the buckles on the back. The buckles go on the back, and he's like strapping you into it as he's saying this.
Well,
but-
if he
but
was
yeah,
a
he's-
good guy, he'd say you probably want the buckles on the front. So at the end of the day, it all comes back to Mance being a piece of shit, doesn't it?
Well, I'm pretty sure Mance doesn't
Yeah.
dress himself, so why would he expect others to dress themselves?
That's a good point.
It's true.
Wow, that's
Why would
Man's
I
never done
dress
a buckle in his
myself?
life.
I've got a little brother to buckle me in.
That's what siblings are for.
Fucked up, man. Says.
As the
He-
younger sibling, Kelly understands that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Moldus nods to you, Wayne. He says, "I don't really know what that means exactly, but yeah, I mean, you'd be my eyes and my ears out there in the greater kingdom. And while you pursue these leads that you've got, while you look into everything that Ryan left behind, you'd also be responsible for looking into the strange and the unexplained. and keeping an eye out for any greater dangers that threaten the kingdom. There is a symbol that goes along with it, but it won't mean anything to anyone except other wyverns. Showing it,
Whoa.
it's not a display of authority. You've got no jurisdiction or power over anyone. But if you show it to another who bears the mark, they'll know that you're someone they can trust, and vice versa.
Is it
What's
like a
the
tattoo
yeah.
that we gotta get? When you say bear the mark,
Ah.
do you mean like we're
No, he reaches into like one of the pockets of the cloak that he's wearing, and he lays out on the table these 4 bronze brooches or pins. You're not really sure which. I mean, I guess there's no practical distinction, honestly, but it is it's clearly the head of some kind of dragon-like creature, but with a sort of a barbed tail arcing up over the head. And he says, you can wear these openly or inside or hidden. It won't mean anything to anybody who doesn't know what it is. But I'd recommend erring on the side of caution.
What am I wearing?
well if you
Let me
look
look at my
in your little
clothes. Let me
corner.
let me zoom into my little corner here.
you wanna sew it to your tunic.
I probably sew it. I'll sew it to. Oh, I'm wearing like a it's not like a bracelet, but it's like a wrist protector, a leather wrist protector. I'll probably take some time if
You
we
mean
have some time and
mean
like
a
sew it to
bracer?
the. Well,
No,
no, it's like
bracelet.
it's not like a glove.
It's for the wrist.
Like,
It's just for the
it's
wrist.
just strictly. It's like a leather.
Okay, a bracelet.
It's like a leather bracelet. Yeah.
Got it. Leather bracelet. Got it.
So I'm gonna take some time and like quietly sit in the corner and like sew it to the inside of it. So that I can like flip it around at any point if I needed to. But for now, it'll be on the inside. If it's not too like bumpy, big, I don't know. Even then, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll keep it in my back pocket for now. I'll find somewhere cool to put it.
Do you want me to
Very
like
cool.
sew it on your like your helmet?
I don't really wear a helmet, but I could get a helmet and then
Oh.
maybe right from there you'll sew it on. Next stop before we go.
Actually, I realize now I can't really sew onto like metal.
You could try.
I could try. If you had like metal string,
This big strong guy like
that
you.
would be
just-
pretty cool.
What's the difference, you know?
So Kelly's just gonna slip hers like in the top part of one of her gloves. Just slip it down in there.
Do you want me
and
to?
Maybe later.
Okay.
I'll think about it. I don't know if they'll still be permanent. I might want to keep it. somewhere else.
Moldus says it's when they if you need to speak to me or each other, you have only to touch it and speak the name of who you'd like to contact, and you'll be able to send them a message, a short message, but they'll hear it wherever they are.
Immediately test it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
immediately.
immediately.
Oh, and you've got it on your wrist. You're like, this is Max. And then you hear Wayne saying, this is Max.
I'm just like, come in, Wayne, come in.
Hey there, Max. How you doing? This is Wayne. Over.
Do we hear it like from like I put it up to my ear? Like, do we hear it coming out of the gauntlet thing, or is it like a telepathic link? Like, what are we talking here, DM?
You hear it whispered into your ear,
Ooh,
almost on a breeze.
cool.
Yeah, he says, I mean, yeah, you can hear each other because you're in the same room. It's not important. Anyway.
I press it and I say Maldus Calder Spire, and I'm like, can you hear me? Can we talk to you?
Kelly's just gonna look at him and she's gonna be like, you chose them. She's just like attaching her braces, just looks him dead in the face, and she's like, you chose them.
Can you hear us? Can we talk to him directly? I'm assuming we can, but I just wanted to make sure.
I too will be able to hear you. However, I am a very busy and involved person, and I will not always be able to answer you.
Fair enough.
We'll just bother each other with it.
Yeah,
I think that would be best.
you're a dork.
You're dark. Come on now. If you're gonna say it to my
Who
face.
said that, dude? Who said that? So mean.
Okay. Well,
Moving on.
yeah. So, moving on. You have. Did you have something you want to say, Julia?
No, I was just gonna say, moving on to that whole missing town.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm very interested in this missing town.
Before you get to that, and I do agree that is a matter of great importance. I imagine you'll want to take the Henge Way, and that'll get you there the fastest. You would all be very familiar, having been here for 10 years, like you have been, that the Henge Way is a set of gates connected throughout the kingdom. Magical gates that you can step through one, you can step out of any other. They only exist in some of the larger cities throughout Aloran, throughout the kingdom. So you would all know that is probably the fast. You would know that he is speaking the truth, and that would be the fastest way for you to get there. And I just need to look up a thing real quick because I'm second guessing myself.
How did I lose my pen? There's nowhere it could have gone.
Oh no.
You lost your pen?
I dropped it. It disappeared. Fell through a
Did you put it
Gate.
behind your ear?
hengeway.
Are you sure it's not behind your ear?
It's in Chicago now.
Chicago.
It falls
Chicago's
down.
actually
It
just
hits
a
Will in the
city.
head.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Fell
That's
down.
crazy.
no.
Through a gate into Ohio into a Skyline Chili.
Straight into
Yeah.
someone's
There it
spaghetti.
is. You'll want to take the Hingeway to Stormhold. That would be the closest. That'd be the closest city with a henge, and then make your way south from there to Kalefell.
Stormhold.
Love it. Love to see it.
Cool.
But before you do that, I thought perhaps you'd like to have a word with Corrigan. The crazy scientist guy.
Oh. That's right.
Oh.
Oh
Hold on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Didn't pick
I
up
wrote
his
his name down.
name.
I don't think I realized.
I don't think I did right.
I just remembered it was Alexander K.
Oh, that's
yes. Yeah, it was Alexander Corrigan was the name that you found written down. And he
Right,
says,
right.
he says- yeah. So, Corrigan is currently being held and questioned in a Wavern safe house down in Cheapside. by an acquaintance of yours, I believe. I've
Hmm.
elected to trust Lamplighter McMorrow with his questioning. I imagine you have a few questions of your own for him. And so I would invite you to take a walk down there.
Thank you.
That being said, I suppose the unfinished business that we've left to discuss is the matter of your teammates, Master Hovacek. These three fine individuals here. I would be pleased to take them under my protection, and it seems as though this game that you've brought into all of our lives is not going anywhere anytime soon. If the riot that you incited with your victory is anything to be believed. So, I'd prefer it not remain in the hands of Mansardane. And as such, perhaps your fellows here would be willing to stay behind, speak to the Council of Calderon, and make a case for establishing something of a independent league.
Well, I mean, they're their own people. That's gonna be up to them. I mean, I'd be happy with it. I put my heart into this game, and I know you guys have as well. But Kira, you told me in the market on the first day you didn't feel safe here, and that this place wasn't right for you. And I didn't listen, and we know where that got you. So, and Torin, I know you haven't been out here for that long. My brother Kaj, I mean, I'd hope you'd take the torch, but if you want to go home, we had a great life there too. So, it's up to you folks. I'd be more than happy to give you my blessing, but it's up to you.
Maldus nods and says, of course, it is. And I understand your hesitation. Calderon has not been as welcoming a place as I would have liked. Even, with my name and everything attached to it, there's still whispers every time I pass the streets, still strange glances that I receive, even after 1,000 years. Obviously, it's worse when I'm dead. But during those times, I rarely venture out of the castle at all, if I'm honest. So I understand. And they sort of look at each other, Kaj and Torin and Kira. And Kaj, takes a closed fist and sort of like crosses it over his chest at you and you, Wayne, and he says, it can't end like this. After everything that we've built, after all of our hard work, that can't be it. I didn't even get to play. I say we keep going. And Torin stands up, sort of like just barely not bumping his head against the ceiling of this room. And in that deep rumbling voice says, yes, this is not over. If they will not listen to us, then we will make them listen. And Kira just sort of sighs and shrugs and says, well, I mean, they're not going to be able to do it alone. So yes, sure.
Oh boy, was really hoping you'd say that. Oh God, yeah, sweet. I mean, couldn't have just let it end, right? I mean, Gretzky, it's an amazing sport. It's brought so much joy to so many people. Come on now.
Yeah, it's great.
But thank you.
I mean, if it's not safe now, all you can do is make it safe. So
And two, if, when in doubt, start a riot. It seems to work out in our favor. If it needs to be done, you have my blessing.
Moldus doesn't say anything, but he just a complex range of emotions moves across his face.
Kelly just kind of stares at him and dares him to say something almost.
He doesn't. He doesn't say anything. But he does nod, and Kira nods back at you, Wayne, and says, look, I'm not one for speeches, but not a lot of places for people like me in this world. And, for an hour or 30 minutes even, if it's quick. People cheer. I guess that's worth sticking around for. Odd, sort of decisively, and look back at you. And Moldus nods and says, like, I suppose that's decided then, isn't it? You three have your work cut out for you, and you four, well, you've got your own things to attend to. I'd ask that you not kill Alexander Corrigan. But I understand you have questions of your own. And in that safe house, I've arranged to have Ryan's remains brought there. You requested to be able to lay him to rest in the tradition of your people.
This safe house?
No.
Zero bit rate. We dropped a 0 bit rate
As it
for
happens,
a second.
as it
But we're
happens.
back.
The
I think we're
stream's
good.
heart stopped for a
As it
minute.
happens. Yeah, our internet did go down like once or twice today, very briefly. So it's probably just still very weird.
You're
A little
good.
bit.
We're back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But no,
Okay,
Kelly's
I
like, no,
see.
Max, the other one, the one we're going to.
Gotcha. Is he? I mean, he was pretty nasty when we found him.
Come on now.
No, I mean literally, he was like beat up. He was like bloodied and stuff. Like
That's not gonna matter when we bury him.
I know,
Right,
but
when you found
does
him,
it?
he
but
was
does
already
he-
beat up by somebody.
Right. Well, when he died, has he been left like this?
Well,
Has he been cleaned at least?
the
Oh,
tradition.
Ryan. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you
Yeah,
meant Corrigan.
Ryan. No,
Yeah.
I don't care about that guy.
Sorry.
That guy
Um,
can rot.
yeah.
Talk about Ryan.
Yeah. I was very confused. No, Ryan's
That's right.
Ryan's remains have
Mm.
been magically preserved, so
Oh,
he
You
shouldn't
know,
be nasty.
I
it's
just.
it's sad to
Mm-mm.
say it, but you knew him better than we did. Do you know if there's anywhere that brought him peace?
Mm.
Do you know if there's somewhere that he, you know, would have want to be laid?
His favorite tree
Did he have a favorite tree?
or library?
He did always like to read under trees.
Did he?
Yeah.
As far as I remember, it's been a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while.
He was
He
kind of a
did,
nerd.
he did, but he did have a favorite place, just west of Calderon. There's a small town, really just barely more than an inn, but there was a small sort of I don't really know what you might call it. A platform with a roof over it. And he said that it's fine. Raph will be back. He always said that it reminded him of his best friends. He always said that.
Oh. It's like the gazebo at
Before.
the park.
Before he died.
And that's where we'll go.
I think that would be appropriate.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to say goodbye.
Of course. Of course. I mean, he was unlike anyone else I've ever met, and the world's a darker place without him. Well, lots to do, you as well, so I suppose we should part ways here. You, Masters, and he nods to Torin and Kira and Kaj and says, "You're welcome to use this domicile as long as you're so inclined. You've not to pay for it or anything like that. It's simply yours, as long as you stay here in Calderon. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to call on me. And if you lot need anything," and he nods around at the four of you, says, "Well, maybe try to figure it out yourselves first and then contact me."
We'll do our
Right.
best.
Yes, sir.
Sounds fair.
Appreciate that. And with that, Moldus Calderspur turns on his heel, walks out of the room.
Hey, Moldus, can you hear me?
You receive no reply.
I think it's busted. I don't think he was really telling us the truth.
Kelly's just like, I'm having a hard time believing that. I feel like, he might just be fucking with you.
I mean, could be.
It's
Could be
possible.
starting our relationship out on a lie. You never know.
Let's hope.
Never know.
Never know. All right, let's get to it.
Um,
Let's start beating the pavement.
Before we leave, Hunter does want to have at least a moment with Torin. Since
Yeah,
they have barely
absolutely.
seen their brother since they went to look for him.
what do you want? How do you want to do that? Do you want to Just like talk in the room, or go for a walk, or what do you say to Torin?
I think they would more just kind of pull him off to the side, so they have a little bit of privacy, but they're definitely cognizant that if they went for a walk, they would quite probably draw undue attention. So staying inside seems the best option. And they just kind of pull Torin, to a corner and first just ask, "How are you holding up?"
Suppose all things considered, I cannot complain. That was. I am. Searches for the word. Sad to have worked so hard for something, only to miss it.
You all deserved so much better than you got. You deserve to be there playing. And while I am glad that at least the cup went to where it was deserved to be, it doesn't have the same meaning without the three of you there.
He waves his hand sort of dismissively and says, "The cup is simply an object. It means nothing. I do not play Gritsky for the cup. But what the cup represents, I cannot explain. It is not born. It is not the way of Ornak to exult in passion, to feel this fire. Fire is uncontrollable and dangerous and destructive, but you take this feeling, I take this feeling, and I let it wash over me. And it is not destructive. It is not angry. It is living.
That makes a lot of sense, Torin.
But my time will come.
I know it will. And I hope that when it does, we will all be here to see it.
Yes, you had better be. And what about you now? Do you return? You return to the Heartwood?
Not yet. It seems there are a few more stops for me to make before that is in the plan for me. We have a friend to lay to rest. We have a missing town to hopefully find. And then I suppose we'll see where the path leads. If I do return to the Heartwood, what do you want me to tell the circle about you?
Tell them that I am leaving. It is funny that I wanted so badly to leave, and you wanted so badly to belong. And here we both are.
And here we both are. I think it's where we're meant to be.
Remember that this, and he sort of reaches and touches like two fingers to the bark that's sort of on his shoulder, and then reaches out and touches the bark sort of on the side of your face under your hood. Says, everywhere we go, this is with us. And every inch of this world is Ak. Not just the heartwood, not just the Orn. Everything. Sometimes I think we have hidden for so long, we forget this. But there is a whole world out there. Perhaps we have neglected it for long enough.
You always knew just what to say, Torin, to help the world make sense.
He's a gift. Would hear me in locker room.
I'm sure I'll get to hear some stories.
Yes. Let me tell you about Sundays. They're for the boys. And then you head back into you head back into the room. And I don't know. Did any of you others want to do anything before you head down to Cheapside?
I mean, Kelly will probably go up to Kira because he seems the most sketchy's the wrong word. But she goes up to him and she's gonna ask him that if he ever passes by this one tailor shop, and if they ever really need something, that there's this tailor shop down in Cheapside that, you know, they should be able to get some help at. In fact, I don't know who'll be there on any given day. If you go there today, there's a guy named Carmen there who's kind of a piece of work, but he will help you. If you tell him I told him he has to. But
I mean, thanks, I suppose. I don't really understand what any of this is.
it seems to be an opportunity to help people with some kind of a structured safety net. But between you and me and everything that I've seen, I don't know if I trust this safety net. I think there's good intentions, but I think you and I have both seen that there are flaws. It's hard to listen to somebody talk about wanting to do good for the entire country and the people who live in it when you know what's happening in other cities that nobody's doing anything about. Or when you live in a building in a part of town with a fence around it. So if you ever feel like something's not gonna work out, there's a tailor shop.
I hope you don't perceive this to be rude, but what are you?
I don't know anymore. Really? I haven't really stopped to figure it out. It's one of those things that I'm ignoring until I can't anymore, I suppose.
He sort of raises two eyes. He sort of raises two fingers to point to his eyes, and he says, "You know what? You know what drives my people insane? Because we see just enough, just barely, into other worlds. We see just barely what's under the surface or hidden. Not enough to make sense of it, if we could. Just enough to be left wondering. And there's a lack within you. There's an absence, Kelly Violet, where something should be.
Well, if I figure out what it is, I promise I'll tell you so you don't go insane. I'm gonna...
I mean, I've made it.
He's gonna just excuse herself from that conversation. Like, straight up. She's like, I told you I'm ignoring it. He's like, hey.
Fair enough.
I was trying to be helpful. You're crossing my boundaries. I'm leaving.
Kira does not pursue you. You are welcome to walk away. And
Struts after you.
yeah. Excuse me, we weren't done talking. We were having a conversation. That's very rude.
No.
Before we go, I'd like to say three things. I'd like to tell my brother that I'm proud of him, and that we've come a long way, and he'll always be my younger brother. But that if I had to leave the team in anyone's hands, I'm glad that it's his. I'm happy that he's always been there for me, and that's going to keep going forward. I hope one day to see him back on the ice. Over to Torin, I'd like to tell him, there's a big world out there, and I know you're going to get to experience a lot of it. I hope you have a lot of fun. I probably don't need to say this, but be safe. Don't get into too much trouble. Or, a good amount of trouble, but not so much. Maybe a little more trouble than you should, just, because that's part of being alive. But have fun. And then I go on over to Kira and I say, I am very thankful that you have made the decisions that have led to this day. That, the first day you said yes, and every day on the ice that you said yes, and that to today that you said yes to staying with this team. You've done so much more than I have ever asked of you. I can never put myself in your shoes, but I also, again, I'm just so thankful that you're here and that you'll keep these two in line. Now let's hit the pavement, boys. It's Sunday.
Big feels. Big feels. Torin, throws back his head and says, "Sundays are for the boys."
The boys.
Yes. So you leave the safe house behind. You sort of look back and you see your teammates and your family members looking back at you. And Kelly, I guess just maybe in your case, you just sort of see the sort of like piercing golden eyes of Kira looking back at you, and you're not sure exactly how long you're gonna see those eyes when you stop and think about that conversation. But
Try to do something nice or something.
But you can start making your way down to Cheapside, leaving the middle districts of Calderon behind, which includes the Grand Library and Calderon Square, where you faced the shadow creature that murdered Ryan Beckinsale in front of you, down into Cheapside, which is the part of Calderon that sort of presses up against the coast of Aloran, the western coast of Aloran, where humans first landed on these shores thousands of years ago, fleeing from their home, which had been consumed by the shadows of a dark god, referred to now simply as the Nightlands. Cheapside was what remains of the original human settlement. The houses and buildings and taverns that they built those thousands of years ago that have now been allowed to sort of fall into decay and then be rebuilt by the people who live here, people who have nowhere else to go. And as you make your way down here, following the instructions that Moldus Calderspur left for you, you find yourselves drawing a lot more attention, you think. You just notice a lot more eyes staring back at you from every shadow, from every alley, every gap between two decrepit structures. You just sort of notice people looking at you, noticing you. You don't blend in here. You have too many weapons. Your armor's too shiny. You look too healthy. But ignoring all of that, you find the location that Moldus told you about. You find this sort of low-slung bungalow off of the main boardwalk of Cheapside with a symbol burned into the door jamb. Brooches that you all carry. The sign of the wyvern. And so, yeah, you locate that, and you don't see a doorknob on the door. You just see a plank of wood in front of you.
Do you think we have to imitate that knock that he did?
That's what I was thinking, yeah. Can we try it out? I don't know if I remember.
Or
You want to punch the door down?
Let's maybe
wait.
let's
I'll
pause
wait.
on that. Yeah,
oh wait,
Plan B.
maybe
wanna-
Plan C, because I'm thinking Plan B could be we maybe put one of the pins in that burned mark.
It's a good idea.
It's an option that doesn't hopefully involve drawing attention to ourselves.
Max, do you want to do the knock?
sure, yeah. What was it?
You didn't study the knock that's your new father figure? Kelly doesn't say that.
New father. Okay, I was gonna say new father figure. Not what are you talking about?
Kelly doesn't call him that She thinks it. She thinks it. She doesn't say it.
Yeah,
But she's like,
totally.
the knock that Moldus did.
Do I remember this, DM? Do I roll for this?
Yeah, you can,
Is it
you can
shave
just
and a
imitate the
haircut?
knock that you heard.
Okay.
Yeah, close enough, yes.
Okay.
Close enough.
I like
you
it's
do
like
that
not
knock
as
and-
fluid. It's like there's a little bit of hesitation with each one. Like
It's
Yeah,
really hard.
absolutely.
It's like really hitting the door.
yeah, I'm like punching it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that, and you bang on the door, in the pattern that Moldus did, and it you hear movement from within, and then the door swings open, and you find yourselves once again face to face with your old friend, lamplighter Alec McMorrow. He is, still a middling tall individual with a sort of a bright red beard and a shock of red hair spilling out from under his lamplighter cap. He is wearing the dusky gray long coat of a lamplighter with the badge of the luminary sewn into it. And as you he smiles when he sees you, and he says, so for future reference, you can actually just, anytime you're trying to get into one of these safe houses, you can actually just take that brooch and just set it against the mark here.
That's what you said.
But I mean, that's just future reference.
Or we
Yeah.
could punch it down.
Or we could, yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
A lot of
we've
ways
got
to get in.
multiple options.
You could do that. It's a complicated thing where it's not really there until it is there. It's a whole thing. I don't really understand it myself. But anyway.
Yeah, I rush everyone in. And I put a big hand on Alex's shoulder and I say, "Good to see you're safe."
He looks deeply into your eyes and puts a hand on top of your hand on his shoulder, and he says, "I'm glad you're safe as well, and
Why wouldn't it be?
I'm glad you're able to get your friends back."
Yeah, thanks for helping us or whatever. Anyway,
As a lamplighter, as
So
a
are you,
a
like-
luminary, I'm
yo, what up?
oh, okay.
Does that work?
Alec
No, I was
McMorrow,
going to
Alec
say,
McMorrow.
as a
Hello?
hello, everybody.
She can hear me because we're in the same room. Damn.
Anyways, a lamplighter.
Oh, right. Yes. Corrigan. He's right over there. And he points to a chair that is in the middle of the room. All of the furniture in this room, which on the inside looks nothing like the way the building looks on the outside. The outside of the building is barely standing up. There's mold creeping up one side. There on the inside, though, everything is sort of very warm, very dry, both aesthetically and warm temperature wise. It's just kind of comfortable generally. But all the furniture has been pushed up against the walls, and in the center of the room, inside of a complexly drawn circle, with lots of different sort of sigils and symbols inside of it, is a chair, and seated in that chair is you see a figure that you recognize as Alexander Corrigan. However, when you all saw him, he was wearing this sort of bird-like mask. Now the mask has been removed, and you can sort of just see the weak old man underneath. You're not sure exactly how old he is, but he is certainly not young. And you don't know how much of that is just sort of hard living or actual age, but he as he's seated in the chair, he is maskless. His lamplighter coat has been removed from him, along with the belt that he wore. The only thing he still has is a set of goggles that cover his eyes.
Kind of old. Makes you feel a little bad about kicking his ass.
No, it
No, it
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah, you're right. We were told Ryan's body was here.
Alec stops walking and turns and says, "Where?"
You tell us.
Yeah.
I-
In here.
Perception check for a dead body.
Okay.
It's just like
I know it. Don't worry, I know his scent.
Mm.
Start sniffing.
I bet you know his
I'm
scent,
joking, I'm
weirdo.
joking, I'm joking.
You start sniffing. Yeah, you
No.
Cash. That's a 1.
Dang.
2 minus 1.
Can I do? Oh God, I probably am actual garbage at these. Can I do? Oh God. Can I do like a? Can I like look Alec up and down and just see like do like an insight check or something? Like, is he goofing
yeah.
us?
No, go for it. Roll an insight check.
It's just a straight D20. Got to 0. So it's
I
not
would
great.
also like to insight check this one.
Nat 20. Let's
That's a
go.
nat 20.
Okay. Wow.
All right.
Anyway,
Let
I know you, Alec.
You do.
I look
You know
deeply in
him.
his eyes.
Yeah.
again.
You know
Again.
A
him
lot of that going
deeply.
around.
A lot of that. Everybody's just staring in everybody's eyes. Kelly, you can roll it if you want.
Yeah,
With a 20.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I'll roll it, but
Can't
I
beat
think
that.
it's just more from an outside.
Get a super nat 20.
19.
It's a 21,
Oh, it's a 21. It's a 21. Oh, man. All right.
just to scooch in right up
very
there.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah,
in his
yeah.
eyes, and then Kelly just like walks up and all.
Kelly
Okay.
just like
Well, that-
leans over your shoulder just to be like,
Yeah,
hey.
we're both just like simultaneously like,
Yeah, you both study Alec, and he looks, his eyebrows knit in confusion, genuine confusion. And his eyes are also a little sad, and he says, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think Kelly at this point she'll kind of like drop back, and at this point she kind of like takes a deep breath, and then she will pull her own coin out and be like, "Where in the safe house is Ryan's body?" And she will, for the first time, call, because she's just like, "Don't be fucking with me, old man."
Yeah. So the way that it works is you have to touch it and then say the name of the
Right.
person you want to contact. But
So she,
yeah.
she does, yeah.
okay, you do, and you do not receive a reply right away. But it's not like calling somebody on the phone. It's not like a two-way connection. It's, you send a message and then whenever
Like a
they
pager.
can,
Yeah.
they send a message back. It's more like a pager.
It's more texting than calling.
Right,
Mm.
exactly. So you don't receive a reply, but as you're standing there talking into the brooch, you hear a noise, Kelly, I'll say. Like a rustling noise and almost like a wheezing. And you realize that it's from Corrigan, who's sort of just been sitting in the chair limp with his like head hanging down. And you look over at him and you see that he's sort of shaking a little bit, and you're not sure what's happening, but when he he lifts his head slightly, and you see that he is this wheezing. He's laughing. He's
Of course he is.
and you sort of see that his mouth is half open. You can sort of see these like yellowed remains of teeth that are all he has left. There's a little bit of like spit just sort of dropping out of his mouth into his own lap as he is sort of chuckling darkly to himself. He's where he belongs now.
Kelly will kind of slip the coin back in. And I'm not going to cross these sigil lines, but I'll get like kind of close and be like, and where's that?
He picks his head up a little bit more, still wearing these goggles, so it's hard to tell where he's looking. This sort of mirrored, dark reflection of yourself looking back. He says, "You know where he is. You know where our home is." I see you, child.
Does Max hear all this?
Yeah, you all hear all this.
And Kelly just kind of stands up again. She's just like,
Okay.
and how did they get him there?
On wind and wings. Dark winds.
Kelly? What the
Smack?
fuck is this old man talking about? Where's Ryan?
Hey, Max,
Mm-hmm. That's my name.
you remember when you asked me if someone would take someone in a prime condition
Oh no.
to Barrow?
Oh no.
Do you
No,
recall?
I don't remember that, but you will say yes.
And Kelly's just like, she's just like looking at these sigils and trying to figure out how she can just essentially throttle this man without like breaking them.
Hmm.
They gave you a gift, child. They gave me a gift too. I see you.
I don't care. Why did they take Ryan?
Who's to say?
How do we get him back?
1 second.
We got problems.
It's fine.
I'm about to smack
It
this.
is not fine.
I wanna, like,
It is the opposite of fine.
I want to burn every spell slot, commanding this guy to poop his pants until it
Yeah,
happens.
Uh,
But it's just gonna make Alex's life worse.
Well, before any of you can do any of that, Alec actually steps forward, and he has the his coat blows back as he does so. He's got the caster on one hip,
Mhm.
matching the other ones, and then he's got a mace of some kind hanging from the other. It's sort of silvery white. And as he steps forward past all of you, you sort of see that his eyes light up with this whitish silvery fire that these sort of trails coming off the edges of his eyes as he does so. And he sort of like reaches out with two fingers and his thumb like this, points it directly at Corrigan and says in a voice that resonates throughout the room with unearthly power. He says, reveal your truth. And it Corrigan's head snaps backwards almost involuntarily, and his mouth
Cool.
opens wide. There's more spit and more drool dropping out of his mouth, and he's sort of writhing against the restraints that have him tied to the chair. His body is sort of convulsing, and Alec lowers his hand after a second of that, and he like sits there gasping for breath in the chair, sort of slumps over. And Alec sort of crouches down at the edge of the sigils to look at the man, at Corrigan, and says, that is just the beginning, old man. It's only going to get worse for you from here. The light of truth will reveal all your secrets. And then he the man, Corrigan, just sort of sits there breathing for a second. Alec turns his back to him, steps away, sort of indicating for you four to follow, talks to you very quietly and says, it's the most he said since I brought him here, since he woke up. Wouldn't say anything when it was just the two of us, no matter what I asked him. I took everything away from him, but he went insane when I tried to take those goggles off of him. He started screaming like I was murdering him. So I figured I'd leave him on, but
Let's take
all
him
that talk of seeing you.
Yeah, let's put a gym sock in his mouth and take him off.
Do you have a toilet here?
I don't know. I don't know
We
what that
can't-
is.
We can't waterboard him.
You gotta give him a swirly.
That's the high school equivalent of waterboarding. We can't do it.
In D&D,
Um,
it's called create waterboarding.
No.
I turn around, and I go into a rage.
Well,
And I'm going to create in my rage, eyes go red, and then my hair just starts growing and covers my body in like this inky blackness, and I grow a very long tail. And as I turn around, I use the tail to try to like smack the goggles off his face, trying not to hurt him too much, trying to just snag the goggles without breaking any sigils or anything important.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I think you can do that. You are raging, which I feel like would make it sort of hard to try to not hurt someone.
It's okay if he gets
but-
hurt a little bit.
Just a
Okay
little.
with me.
Cool.
Just a little
Cool.
bit's okay with me.
Cool.
I want to
Okay.
smack him, but I don't want to
Uh,
knock him out.
Yeah.
Then I guess
I'll knock
just
him out. I
make
don't want to
a,
kill him.
I guess just make an attack roll.
Okay. Just a little
think it's
bit.
Just a little bit, +4, +2. Got
Just a little bit.
it.
Just a tiny bit. +4 +2. I always forget. Hold on. Actually, I have it written down here. As plus my strength. Okay, yeah. That's gonna be a 26.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna interpret
Um,
that as a expression of your self-control, not of how hard you're hitting him. Since you expressly
Right,
stated your intent
exactly.
to not
So-
kill him.
Okay, so if I roll damage, can I tell you how much damage I'll roll damage. That's fine with me.
Okay.
That's so good.
Yeah, roll damage.
Just so
I
he
don't-
knows how
I
close
just
to
don't want
death
to
he
kill
was.
him.
Right.
Plus 4.
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
gonna
plus
say I
2
don't
for
think you can
Plus
do
2.
this like. Yeah, I don't think you can do this raging without hurting him a little bit.
That's a
Oh,
16.
that's a 16.
Your tail weapon. Your tail.
This is, you know what this is?
D12.
Do you know what
Yeah.
this is? Roll 20 acknowledging how much Max actually loved Ryan.
Yes.
He was my friend. No,
True.
he wasn't.
Yeah, you
No,
hit
but I
this
don't say
man-
anything. I just smash
Right.
him.
He was a
You
rival.
hit this old man across the face with your tail, which you didn't have a second ago.
Yeah.
And
This time it'll
Alex-
be it's like it'll be like a big lizard tail, I guess.
Okay.
Last time it was a scorpion
Cool.
tail.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Big lizard tail. You hit him across the face with it. So at least it's bludgeoning.
All
But,
spikes and
Yeah. Oh, okay. Never mind. And
shit.
his head snaps to the side. Almost everyone who sees this is like convinced, like, oh, this guy's dead.
This
Like,
guy's
this guy's
dead.
definitely dead. He is old as fuck, and he just got smacked across the face super hard.
Piercing damage.
Um,
so.
Yeah. His head just kind of drops onto like his chin just hits his chest, and it hangs there for a second, but the goggles do go flying off of his head, as you were intending.
Sick.
And he again just sort of sits there for a second, panting, trying to put himself back together, presumably.
Are his eyes open?
You can't really tell because his head is down. His hair, what's left of it, as stringy as it is sort of like hanging in front of his face.
Look at me.
I don't want to.
Look at me and tell me what you know.
He slowly lifts his head,
Okay, good.
and his hair, the stringy remains of his hair, parts as he does so, just enough for you to see a set of eyes looking back at you. They are roomy and clouded over, full of cataracts. And at first you think he's crying, because you can see these like two streams of liquid sliding down his cheeks. But a second later, as he finishes raising them, you realize that these eyes in his head are decaying. Those aren't tears, because parts of those eyes are already gone. And there are enough gaps and collapsed parts that you can see the two blue candle flames that burn within his sockets.
I turn to Kelly.
Yep.
What does that mean? First of all, disgusting.
Well, it means you don't have to worry about being the first person to kill him. Because he's pretty much dead already.
Dead. Not yet. We're not so fortunate.
We is not a word you should be using right now.
We're the same, child. Gifted, but not blessed. Not ascended.
Is this what they're gonna do to Ryan? What they did to you?
Alec, the man stops talking. Corrigan stops talking, and Alec, stepping forward one more time, chants something very quickly with his hand, 2 fingers over his heart this time. And he then throws his hand out towards Corrigan, and a line of thin blue lightning shoots out, connecting
Cool.
from his chest into Corrigan's chest.
Huh.
He sort of wraps it around a fist, and he squeezes, and Corrigan's body convulses, this time with like electricity sort of dancing across his body, and stops. This smoke sort of coming off the top of his head, sort of small smoldering patches in the stringy bits of his hair, and the lightning doesn't dissipate. Alec just sort of maintains that connection from inside of Corrigan to wrapped around his fist, and then sort of back into his own chest. And as he finishes the convulsion, Corrigan says, I don't know. I don't know his worth. I don't know.
Were the undead funding what you were doing in the Roots? What you were doing to those prisoners?
Another zap of electricity, another convulsion of that same sort of lightning dancing over his body, and he says, no, my curiosity, my experiments, no. It's taken me so long to earn even this gift. What little I have, my time draws near. If I cannot cheat death with undeath, then the answer must lie in the blood of an immortal, the heart of an immortal. There are no immortals left, of course, but they're children. There must be something there.
You know, maybe there is. But not for you.
And I turn back to the doctor.
Like
And I say, I'm the good doctor. And I say, what do you know about these ghost demons? They appeared. They killed our friend. They weren't alive either. They weren't necessarily undead, but they seemed to have some sort of power.
He took what did not belong to him.
He was in a library, like a nerd.
He stole a book. He didn't check out.
Check out.
He
What
was over
didn't he
his
take? What did he take?
He says, I won't say. And then Alec goes to like clench his fist and he tenses up in his chair and says, all right, oh, all right. I will say. But
Good man.
he took knowledge. I don't know what. But he went to the city. He took something. Something he was not meant to know.
I kind of look over at Kelly and Kelly, then, okay.
If it's
You know, child. Everything that leaves Barrow eventually returns.
Kelly's gonna go into her bag and she's gonna pull out his journal that she took. And she's gonna say, this is your life's work, isn't it? This is your knowledge. This is your hope at immortality. This and those people you were tormenting.
Don't.
Don't what? Don't put it in that
Please.
fireplace.
Please don't.
Don't take it out of this world before you go out, because I promise nothing's going to be left of you when you go.
It's all I have. It's all I am. Don't. Please. I beg you. Mercy.
You don't deserve mercy.
I wonder how many people said that to you when laying on your table. Did you ever show that many?
Alec electrocutes him again, and he says, no. He just starts repeating no over and over and over again.
Then you're gonna face what is it called? The Damonito Memori. Good old full destruction of your entire being. I'm just gonna throw it into the fireplace at this point.
He throws his head back. He screams in pain, way louder, way more vocally than he has for any of the tortures that Alec has subjected him to, more than when he was electrocuted, more than when Alec sort of attacked his mind directly. And he fully just goes limp in the chair. Just his body gives out entirely. The only thing holding him up are the ropes that are binding him to the chair. His head is like rolled back. Alec sort of studies him for a second with with his eyes that are still glowing with that silver white flame that's giving off little trails at the end. And he says he's alive.
I don't think he's gonna actually have anything. I don't think he was actually working with whatever's going on.
I agree. If
just-
he knew something, the undying light would have revealed it by now.
One last question then. Can he die?
Oh, he can die.
What, like physically or like ethically or practically? What?
Yes, Max, he can die.
I swing at him with my tail.
Is your intention to kill him?
Wait.
Is Wayne gonna
Wait,
cut
are you
in here?
stopping me? You're muted, you're muted.
Oh, I think you're muted, Corey.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You're, you're still muted.
Oh no,
You're
did his
still
battery?
muted, my friend. Oh. Hello?
I don't know. Did that work?
There you go. You're
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's got to unplug it, plug it back in. I don't know. We had one rule that we were supposed to do is, not kill him. I mean, I want to kill him too.
That wasn't a
but
rule. That was a polite request.
It was a suggestion.
We kind of just took the job, right? You probably shouldn't shit all over the rules on the first day. But I do still kind of want to make him shit his pants. If anybody wants to do that, might be as good as death for some people. Would make me feel a lot better.
Well, he's fully unconscious right now.
That's
Make him shit his pants.
Alec. I mean, it's up to you, guy. It's gonna make your life worse. Pants. I would like to cast command and just say the one word shit.
Oh, nice. Let's see.
Does he have to be awake for that spell
Yeah.
to go off?
I don't know. I've never
wake
really
up.
done it before. I
Great
thought about it a
question,
lot, but nobody was
honestly.
that big of a dick to me that I thought I would go for it. But, fuck this guy.
Yeah, man. Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, I guess he's still gonna get a save. There's a save, right?
Yeah, wisdom saving
Yeah.
throw.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll see.
How many,
We'll see what
how many
happens
spell slots do I need to use on this DM? It's
here. How does suggestion work? Does it
command.
change the
Alright, so I speak a one-word command to a creature that you can see within range. The target must succeed at a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if the target doesn't understand your language, or if the command is directly harmful. Oh, he's undead?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
undead.
well? It's not undead.
Oh, not yet.
Oh.
Make this man shit his
so
pants, DM.
You can, yeah. All right. He shits his pants. Good job.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's a good use of a spell slot right there. Good
Oh, so when
Wayne,
he's like me,
nice.
he's like me.
Who said that?
Alec is just sort of standing there, like, what did you accomplish?
I made him shoot his pants. What do you mean?
Yeah, I see that. I mean,
It
fair
it
enough.
made him feel better.
Made me feel better.
Speaking
me
of
feel
feeling
better.
better, how's your
Yeah.
shoulder?
How's what?
Your shoulder.
Oh,
Last time I saw you, I
Mm.
stabbed you.
yeah. I mean, by the will of the undying flame, I'm healed. So
Do you need stitching?
that going for me. No, it's no. The undying light kind of takes care of all that. So, but thank you. I think perhaps I've never heard of this. I mean, he is mortal. I'd know if he wasn't. But clearly. I mean, part of him isn't. Kelly, you would be familiar with
Mhm.
this, probably.
I do believe I
Yeah,
am.
I wanna know more.
Okay. If you want to keep that information to yourself, you are more than welcome to, but you are pretty positive that Alexander Corrigan here is what is commonly referred to as a within Sparrow slum speak as a grafter.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little uncomfortable at this point, but I also don't think I can exactly dance around some of the things that were just said here. But so she will say that basically he's mortal, but he took parts of either another mortal or an undead and had it added on to himself for an enhancement. It's a slums thing. It's a fucked up status and power thing that happens in Barrow.
Can I ask you, does the body parts of those who are immortal, do you gain certain abilities based on their power? Or is it just simply reduced to flesh?
I didn't really I wasn't on the studying end
Same.
of this. Well, no, I mean,
Oh.
I wasn't studying this when I was there.
Oh.
I wasn't on that side of the table.
Hmm.
It was
Well, I doubt Ryan was important enough or magical or anything. But
I think they knew.
You know,
I think they knew that I was not that I was from Ohio. Well, maybe not Ohio exactly, but they figured out that I wasn't from here. I think they might have been able to figure that out about Ryan as well, if he went there and stole something.
Kelly, you can roll Arcana or Religion, your choice.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
You do detect Ohio. You detect a lot of Ohio.
So much Ohio up in this bitch. Arcana
Smells
or
like chili.
religion?
I was gonna say there better be some skyline
smells
chili.
like spaghetti chili.
I am gonna do Arcana.
Okay.
For
Okay,
22.
roll 20 coming through.
Nice.
Okay.
Good rolls today, everyone. Well
Thanks.
done.
You
Excellent.
are you're actually like really pretty sure you know the whole deal with grafting.
Oh.
And you can decide why you know that. Whether it was like maybe done to somebody that you knew or not, but like you know that there are two types of
Yeah.
grafters, essentially. There are mortals who basically suck up to the undead and are rewarded for their loyalty by getting grafted. And then there are people who are punished by getting grafted and then sort of thrown back into the slums because no one will ever know why they were grafted. No one will ever know if it was because they sucked up to the undead and sold out their fellow mortals, or if it was done as a punishment.
Yeah.
But people will assume the worst to be safe. You would also know that grafting doesn't work between mortals. Grafting is when they take a part of an already undead being and attach it to a mortal.
Mm.
In this particular gentleman's case, I I think he probably sucked up to the undead. I would suspect, based on the fact that he is out here whiling the way he is. But yeah, Kelly will kind of explain that to the best of her abilities. It's not a good thing. It's, it's, you're being stitched together like that flesh golem almost, which, if he had it happen to himself, could explain why he came back and started doing that here. But it's just, you take a piece of the undead and you have it attached to your mortal self, and there are benefits to it, I assume, but you don't really talk to the grafted in the slums because you can't be sure if you can trust them anymore.
So, what does that have to do with Ryan's body? Ryan's not undead.
That doesn't mean they won't experiment on him.
I mean,
telling-
isn't the first step to being undead being dead?
Shit.
So what worries me is how and when he was taken.
Yeah, because I mean, Caldas didn't know. He told us Ryan was going to be here. So at what
Yeah.
point did he disappear, and why did the guy who's supposed to know everything not know that that happened?
Alec, didn't you have Ryan's body?
No, he said he never saw it. He came
Oh.
here with him.
Ryan's
But it
body's
was
been
So something
taken.
happened.
Caldas, Ryan's body's been taken. I know you said we're supposed to figure this stuff out, but you told us one thing, and now he disappeared, and I know he was
Yeah.
really important to you. So maybe we'll over and out.
Um,
He said
we
they
know the-
said on sorry.
Go ahead.
Corrigan said that he was taken on their wings, like on black wings. So
Right.
I am assuming that means that he was just scooped. And now
Wasn't
we
he-
have
Was his body taken by the lamplighters? No offense, Alec, but could they
originally-
be in on it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but it was in his body was in Lamplighter Tower. That's where it was taken, and that's where all of your personal effects were taken, as well as his personal effects. So somewhere between Lamplighter Tower and here, Ryan's body disappeared.
And that was like a day ago? Yesterday? 2 days?
we were unconscious for a while.
Yeah, but we were unconscious day of, right?
I think if it had happened,
Oh no, we were unconscious. I see what you mean. Yeah.
I mean,
Several
Aldous would have
days.
found out about it,
I mean, I
right? It's
can't-
gotta have just happened, or else they
Yeah.
would have been notified.
I can't say for certain, but I imagine whoever Moldus had bring the body here, he would have been alerted if the body wasn't there when he went for it. But if the
Whoever-
body disappeared along with whoever was meant to bring it here, then, I mean, he'd have no idea. How could he?
So somebody got jumped.
Or there's a mole.
Either or.
I'm afraid either is possible. This city, every day, it's there's more and more death. And more undeath.
Well, now we've got two problems. We've got
Yeah.
a missing Ryan, who's probably on his way to Barrow, and we have a whole missing town. This is such a
I-
bad day. This is such a bad day. Fuck is right.
I actually think that it is very fair to say, while you're all sort of standing around there, flabbergasted at everything that is going wrong and all of the questions that you have in front of you that do not have answers, that we should take a break.
Okay.
You're just a big old.
Okay. Just come back in like 10 minutes, maybe.
Okie dokie.
10
thanks.
minutes.
Thanks everybody for sticking around. We will be back ASAP, about 10 minutes.
This
Don't
is
go anywhere.
stressful.
We will. Yeah, it was very stressful. We will see you very, very soon. Thanks for sticking around. Be back in 10. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us. So much happened while we were gone.
Yeah.
First of all, the bot was still set to Gen Con. So it did not catch the donations that we got. Thank you so much to It's So
Karen.
Wholesome. Thank you so much to Karen. Thank you so much to We Love You, Karen. Thank you so much to me. I subscribed with my Prime sub. And yeah, all of that goes to Planned Parenthood. So if you want to contribute, please feel free. ! PP donate. And now the McElroys will in fact yell at us as promised.
Also, how many advantages do we have in our pool now?
I'm doing it.
Asking the big questions.
Asking for a friend. Me.
That's a lot of advantages.
This is
By
how
my count.
bitches.
By my count, you got to use those. We haven't rolled much this episode.
Yeah.
It hasn't been very.
Oh, we've also
very
just been
combat
rolling like very good.
We've
Yeah,
been
that is
rolling
also
rock.
true. Roll
That's
20
me not
decided
knowing.
to have mercy on you tonight for some reason.
Roll 20 like social combat.
Mm-hmm.
Social combat. Not
Social
real combat.
No. Yeah. So you were all just kind of standing around scratching your heads in the Wyvern safe house with Alec. Not super sure where to go from here. But I mean, you do have, the Kelfell awaits. The North awaits.
The North.
The North.
Yeah.
So we're going after Ryan, right?
Yes, but we can't ignore an entire town going missing.
I can. But I mean, we won't. I won't.
So
Thank
for my world travels, I know that if we were to go through the henge, we pop out on one side, and then Barrow's on the other side, and then where we're going is right in the middle. So we could go and just slide right through, figure out what we need to know from this empty hole in the ground, and then keep going on the Barrow. Probably the answers we're looking for are there anyway. That way we could get two birds with one stone and get our friend back.
No, I mean, hold on. You can't simply walk into Barrow.
Why not, Alec? Please tell us why not.
That's not how it works. What do you mean tell you? Like, it's just common knowledge. You can't get into Barrow. You can't get out of Barrow. Everybody who's in there has been in there generations ago. Their ancestors went there. The gates have been shut for longer than I've been alive.
Kelly just puts her hands on his shoulders and she's like,
That's my job.
do you say that?
Don't touch his shoulders.
Do you say, does Max
I
say
like- I mumble.
that? Kelly's just like, there are ways in and out of Barrow. They are dangerous and they are hard. It's not impossible.
Look. Okay.
Getting
I mean,
getting out is actually technically arguably easier. I don't even remember it. You jump.
Jump from where?
The wall.
The top of the wall?
Yeah.
Look. Okay, I realize that I'm not going with you. And oof, that's very good. Well, that's very good.
Oh.
Mac's about to dip Ranger for one level.
Multi-class 1 level.
Just to
Multi-class
just to
with
take,
Kelly.
just to take favored terrain, Alex shoulders. They're good shoulders, Brent. Yeah. He says, "Look, I realize that I'm not going with you or anything. I'm not exactly part of this, but I mean that's you all realize that how that sounds, right? The rest of you, the other 3 of you, realize that that's insane.
Why?
He's
Barrow's
in
a
the woods.
city. Barrow's a city built. I mean, it's miles up from the top. It's a closed. I mean, it's more of a tower than a city, really.
You know what's further? Ohio.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. It's okay. And I like pat his cheek. I'm like, it's okay. You don't have to understand.
Okay.
What kind
I
of
don't know,
relationship
I
are you
mean-
trying to have with him?
Kelly
Is this
seems
like
to think
older brother? Is this what is it?
Older
Or is this like
lover?
romantic? What do you want, Mix?
I don't know. Kelly seems to think it's doable. You know, if she thinks that we can do it, then we can do it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can't talk you out of it, obviously. Be careful.
We appreciate the concern. Thank you.
Will you be safe here?
I mean, I imagine so. It seems that Lord Calderspur has taken a liking to me, and I don't know exactly what's happening within the Lamplighters.
Mm.
You know, I know that the truth will come out. We all pledged ourselves to the Undying Light, and in return, we became the Lightbringers. So, those oaths are not so easily or lightly broken.
Of course. I understand. In the meantime, maybe you could watch things over here. I mean, there might be like a mole, you know, or there's obviously some sort of other organization, whether they overlap with the Lamplighters or the Wyverns or both or neither. We've
I'll do
got
my
our own
best.
mission.
The sight reveals many things.
Mm. do you have one of these? And I show him my little thing.
No, no.
Not yet.
Hmm.
I mean,
I give him
it
mine.
was-
What? No, get
Aw.
out of here. What are you doing?
We gotta stay in contact. He's the only one that knows this information that's still here.
Look, I can't accept this.
Why not? It's a hunk of metal.
The Lord Calder Spur offered. He asked me, but I swore an oath, and that oath was to the truth. I can't serve two masters. One rooted in the light and one rooted in the dark.
How will we contact you then? Cell phones didn't exist back then. Okay, no.
You can write him a letter, Max.
Yeah, I mean
Letters are dumb.
he like
Can your birds
claps
carry
you.
messages?
Oh. Well, they're not really my friends.
I
They
could ask-
could bring the
I-
message here, or they
Yeah.
could give it to someone else for fun, or
I
they
mean,
could eat
I
it
could
for
ask them
fun.
for you. Maybe if I asked, they'd be willing to do it.
Ah.
You are more than welcome to. They
You can talk to
are.
birds.
I can talk to a lot of
They're
animals.
quite talkative.
We should talk to those birds. You should ask them why they're standing around watching Max all the time.
Thought we were buddies.
Probably.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Not
Silly
at all.
me.
No, they're not my friends. They're
In
not
the
my enemies
meantime-
either.
In
Yes.
the meantime, Alec very, sort of claps you on either side of the shoulders, Max.
Just
He
a
says, "Well."
wide.
Yeah, very wide. But he sort of just like bumps you on your shoulders and says, "Well, I suppose if there's something you want to tell me, you'll just have to come back."
Oh,
Cute.
so wholesome.
I will. You stay alive too. With your undying light or whatever. Just make sure that light doesn't die. You know what I mean?
I mean, it literally can't. That's the name. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Undying.
Whatever. Sure. Yep. Anyway, bye. Wait, actually, can I go pick up those goggles?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're probably fucking broken, dude. Like you did 16 points of damage.
Yeah.
Just wrecked him.
They're not
Do you just
magical
wanna-
though, are they? They just kind of
No, they don't seem magical to you.
cool.
They're broken.
I'll just hook them onto my belt.
Oh,
Trophy.
yeah.
A little trophy for myself.
They're full of his
A little
like,
reminder.
they're full of his eye juice.
Disgusting.
I shake them a little bit. I shake them.
Oh,
I'll pour some water on there. Shake them off.
Like, cause
Hook them
I
on.
was just like,
I'm not much
you're
cleaner.
getting it everywhere. Stop.
Get out of the way, then, dude.
Yeah. Okay. So you have those goggles. You sort of tie them around your belt, and then you all can leave the safe house behind. Step out onto the streets of Cheapside. You open the door, and then as usual, there's like a group of about probably about 10 ravens just sort of standing outside of the door, and they all just sort of turn as one to stare at you as you step out.
Hey, guys. What's up?
hey Max.
Whoa! You guys hear that? So this kid's gonna talk to you or something. Uh, uh be nice. Yeah. And I just turned to Hunter. And I'm like, they're all yours. They're all yours. You're just like silent bursts.
Yeah, they just stare back at you.
Actually, I'll just like pour out some crumbs for them. I know it like doesn't really work, but I feel obligated.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
You do so. While you
Hunter.
are standing there nearby, they ignore the crumbs.
And so I would like to cast Speak with Animals so I can talk to Max's birds.
Them birds.
We've covered you casting spells in like the middle of a fight, but what does it look like when you cast this spell? When you like have a second?
And so I suppose in this time, I feel like Hunter is probably a little bit like self-conscious, realizing that everyone's eyes are kind of on them as they're doing this. And like they probably take a few moments to sort of like shake off the nerves and then go to. I'm sorry, my cat just decided to leap into my curtain.
Fine.
So yes, if you see anything weird happening, that's what's happening.
Oh, baby.
So they, just sort of shake off the nerves and then kneel down and put their hands on the ground and just seem to go into a bit of a trance. And when they look up, their eyes are glowing a bit and directed at the crowd of, unkindness of
Murder.
ravens?
Unkindness of ravens.
Yeah, unkindness of
Oh
ravens.
yeah, murderous crows. You're right.
Oh, right.
And I don't know if this fits, but I would imagine perhaps the bird's eyes glow in response as well. If they're willing to
Okay.
connect,
Okay.
Cool.
And Hunter, first of all, just greets them and says, "Hello, I'm Hunter. You seem to be Max's birds. Why do you follow him?"
Sure.
Max, they say they follow you because of murder.
Because of friendship. What?
What do you mean murder? Like one bird for each murder? What do
Murder.
they mean?
Maybe they like the
Max.
people you murder and then they eat them.
What do you mean by murder?
Murder. Murder. Murder.
They're just repeating murder.
Listen, okay, I'll come clean. I have murdered a lot of people in the light of justice, but these guys have been around me since before then.
Murder.
They
Murder.
started following
Murder.
me the first day I
Murder.
came to Anoon.
Murder.
Yeah,
I
they're
was
just
at
saying
I was at
murder.
a fucking farm for the first few
Murder.
days and they were there. I mean, like,
Murder.
They're pretty insistent that it's murder.
Murder.
anything else? Maybe that's just their name.
That could be. What are your names?
Murder.
Murder.
Am I supposed to murder someone? Am I supposed to murder them? And I just like I say that as I grip my battle axe.
No.
When Max grips his battle axe, the chants get louder and more insistent.
What is it?
Oh,
What does that look like from our perspective? Are they just cawing, or are they just silent, or is it just like is it like a telekinetic, or what is it called?
Telepathic.
There you go. Thank you.
It's speak with animals, so I'm going to assume. Yeah, I'm going to say that the rest of you have been hearing these like soft cawing noises, and then now it's getting louder. When you grip the battle axe, the caws grow louder and more frequent.
So don't murder them. I don't want us murdering any animals, but they did definitely react to that.
this is what you want, and I just like full on take it out and I hold it.
Wayne like pulls his neck out
Murder.
from
Murder.
his jersey like he's gonna let Max kill him, and like
This is escalating so quickly.
I lay the battle axe on Wayne's neck, and I just like
Mhm.
lift it up and swing down, like right at the last second. I won't,
ah,
but just to see what
no,
they
don't kill
their
me,
reaction.
I'm
no.
like, Kelly's just like, oh my god.
Wayne understands.
When you raise the battle axe, when you like point it at Wayne, and Wayne like sort of tilts his neck, and you do the whole thing, they fall dead silent.
Huh. Maybe they're just little freaks.
Did you not like that?
Murder.
Right.
Murder.
It seemed like they almost like shrugged there when they said it this time. I'm not
Yeah, I'm
entirely
pretty
sure
sure
what
I
that
saw
means.
one full on like raise his shoulders.
That's so weird. I
Um,
don't think I've ever had an animal I've talked to just say one word so insistently over and over and over again.
hmm. I mean, they have helped me at times. We kind of have like a thing going where sometimes I need to intimidate and they flock. And sometimes I need them to leave and they do. Not every time. They don't follow my commands. Sometimes I'll be like, hey, get the fuck out of here. And they'll just, more will show up, or one will like shit on my shoulder, you know? It's,
Also,
Oh.
sometimes you can see through their eyes, but you don't have to tell them that if you don't want to.
yeah.
What?
Just say, you know, I'll be honest, I'm not very smart, so I'm pretty trustworthy. Yeah, I sometimes they let me see through them.
Wait, like
So that's
see
What?
what do you mean by see through them?
like they let me borrow their eyes.
Not typical.
That's
Ooh.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Agreed.
I know. It's pretty cool. But they don't do it when I always want them to. Like I could be like, "Hey, you, eyes," and they won't, or they will. It's
Murder.
not up to me. You know, it's up to them.
Yeah, they're still saying murder.
Maybe you should like disconnect. I don't think that's healthy to just.
Okay. And I'm going to try, to disperse them. I'll
Okay.
try. It's like 1 minute, you said. And
Yeah.
I have to roll a charisma, roll an animal handling check.
That sounds right. I don't have it in front
Yeah,
of me.
I have it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rules to the birds?
Yes, there are rules. Birds. Okay, let me roll
This
a
is D&D.
charisma.
There's rules for everything.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
True.
Animal handling. Oh
Roll for
wait, you
Swirly.
said charisma parentheses animal handling, but animal handling is
Wisdom.
a wisdom trait. Do you want me to roll charisma or wisdom? I'll edit it.
I would say
off.
that that's probably whichever one's higher.
Okay, my animal handling is slightly higher. I think because of the
Okay.
birds actually. So I will. It's literally just one higher, so it's not too bad.
Mhm.
Could make all the difference.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Pretty good.
It literally made the difference
Nice.
because I'm pretty sure the DC is 15.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
How
I
do you do
just
it?
I as soon as Kelly's like, you need to cut, this is unhealthy. I'll just I'll bring out both my battle axe and my shield, and I'll just start like smashing them together and like walking up to them and just start like being like, get out of here, leave. I know you'll come back, so just leave give me a minute, okay? I need some time to think. And just start like like just start smashing them together.
Here's what I will say.
Okay.
They don't react to that.
Okay. And I just like, please, just leave.
Okay. You
Nothing.
you say please, and you sort of like focus on it real hard. And then when you open your eyes, they're gone. The rest of you see them all sort of turn as one and take off in perfect synchronization.
Oh God, please leave. Please leave.
Spooky.
Please leave. Please leave.
Max, they're gone.
Okay, they're gone now.
That was weird.
Yeah,
That
they're
was
annoying.
really weird.
But you know, they're good company when one is alone for a while.
Well, you know, in theory, that's not going to be the case for any longer.
Shut up.
Awesome.
Let's go hit the henge.
Yeah. Yeah, you can absolutely hit the henge. Oh, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for the
Thank
raid.
you.
Josh, welcome on in. Hope your stream was good. Actually,
Welcome,
real quick.
Raiders. Heart,
Welcome,
heart, heart.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Thought I
yeah.
fixed the raid message. There you go. A shout out. WWE 2K22.
Oh my God, not that
Yeah.
game.
I hear good things. I hear good things.
Absolutely stunning game.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
Get the hell out of
We're
here.
not
Glad they
touching it. I hope your stream was good, but welcome on in. Anyway, you are you disperse the birds, and then you start to disperse yourselves.
Mhm.
And I assume you're heading to the henge, to the Calderon
Mhm.
henge.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know where that is. That is sort of on the other side of the city. Certainly not in Cheapside. And right as you are walking along the Cheapside boardwalk, getting ready to turn and head back into the Middle District, a hand snaps out of an alley and grabs your wrist, Kelly.
Mhm.
And you look down and you see this sort of shriveled, wrinkled little hand, and you follow it to the owner, who is a very old, wizened-looking, dyed-a woman. She her ears, her large bat-like ears are sort of flat down on either side of her head. Now that she is approaching a ripe old age, her eyes are clouded over and dark, as happens to Dide as they get older. But similarly, she is stooped with age, but similarly, she is she has a sort of that same scrunched up sort of bat-like nose and the same sort of sharp teeth that Kaj, Wayne's adopted younger brother, has. But she reaches out and she grabs your wrist and she is sort of seated behind a crate that has some scattered crystals on the top of it. The crystals have symbols carved into each side of them. They're sort of hewn into roughly geometric shapes. She grabs your wrist and she says, well, dearie, you've leaving, but I sense so many questions. You have questions about the future and the past. What has happened and what will happen. You are worried about. One of her ears sort of like lifts up slightly. Child.
Mm-hmm.
I could sing for you. You would know, all of you, probably, that Daide, the primary sort of characteristic of Daide, everything that informs their society, is sort of based in prophecy and the future. When they say that they are singing, when Daide sing, what they're sort of doing is a form of echolocation. But instead
So
of,
cool.
bouncing off of rocks and, painting a picture of their surroundings, what it's doing is it's sort of bouncing off of possible futures and coming back to them with a picture. This is a little more esoteric, so I think Wayne, you might be the only one who knows this, having sort of spent so much time around Daide. But the sort of rune carved gemstones in front of her are actually called resonant stones. Normally, the more Daide that are sort of singing as a group, a chorus, it's called, the more accurate the portrait of the future is. Resonant stones are just sort of a way to make up for that, to fill in that gap of one Daide trying to do this by themselves. I could sing for you if you would like, and you could pay, and I would tell you what has happened.
I think Kelly is just shook up enough by everything that's happened just today that she will kind of like adjust her wrist in the woman's grip so that her palm is like on the underside of her arm as well, and she'll be like, all right.
Okay. Madam Jabardi will take care of you. Let me see what the song has to say. And she gathers up the crystals in front of her in these long, bony fingers. She sort of starts shaking them, raises them sort of up to her forehead, over her head, and continues to sort of shake them sort of faster and faster. And as she has them over her head, she opens her mouth and she starts making this sound. At first, you perceive it as just a very high-pitched, sustained note. And it steadily grows higher. And for about a minute, as she's sort of climbing the register, it becomes painful. Wayne, you might have known to like brace for this. The rest of you, I'm not sure how familiar you are with like Daide singing, but it becomes very painful. And I mean, Wayne, I imagine this, there's echoes here of like that first night or like first couple of days in on Anun, which for you was very affirming, very triumphant.
Pretty sweet. It was a great time.
You were sort of
It's
surrounded.
it's even worse when there's a bunch of them. It starts to rattle your brain.
But in that scenario, it was your adopted family around you, even though you didn't really know who they were at the time, and they were holding hands with one another and singing. And then, when it stopped, they were like all almost weeping with how beautiful the future that they saw for you was. How fortunate you were.
Yeah, it was a good moment. It's like, everything's gonna be
And-
all right.
In this case, she Madame Drabardi raises these crystals over her head, and her voice hits a register where you cease to be able to perceive it, and the pain stops. But you know, she is clearly still producing noise. You can still sort of see her mouth open, her breath leaving her body into the seaside air. And a minute or so goes by of just this. She has these crystals in her hands that she's shaking. She brings them down to her mouth, and she starts singing directly into them. And then she sort of casts them onto the top of this, you know, overturned box that she has set up. And almost immediately, it's off her breath. She stops, leans on the box with her hands on either side, and she shakes her head, turns her blind eyes to you, Kelly, towards you. She says, no, keep your money.
That bad then?
She just starts she produces a little bag, and she starts like pushing the stones, the resonant stones, into the bag, cleaning off her tabletop, just sort of doing her best to ignore you. And she's saying, no. I must go. It is late in the day. I must leave.
You're gonna probably have to live with whatever you saw for a very long time. You could share that burden. Please.
Oh, it is unkind, child. But I saw nothing. Nothing. She reaches across the table and grabs your wrist again, sort of tugs hard down so you're like at eye level with her, and
Jesus.
her sightless eyes are wide as she sort of just emphasizes one more time. Nothing. And then she releases you, grabs her bag, and starts trudging away back down the alley away from you all, muttering to herself in Die-Day.
Kelly just kind of casually turns back towards the group, and she's like, so the henge.
Are we not going to unpack everything that just happened?
We have to? I mean, it's just, it's just...
I mean, what do you think was meant by nothing?
I mean, if I had to use context clues from, things that have been said to me just today, probably, if I had to extrapolate, you can't look into the future of something like soulless and or dead with no future. Let's go. Let's just, come on, let's go.
To the henge we go.
If I had to guess, I ain't got nothing going on in here. Let's just go.
You turn up the sort of rough gangplank that leads from the from Cheapside up into the middle districts. And as you do so and sort of disappear back into the sprawl of modern day Calderon proper, we sort of, pull back our viewpoint, leaving you to the depths of the city and just, looking at the remains of where humanity started here, the beginnings of its presence here in Anoon, and what little remains of it neglected and decaying. As you make for the henge, that will take you north. I think that is where we are going to call it for this session.
Good session.
Good session.
Trauma session. Trauma session.
Everybody join in. Thank you for joining us for our trauma session. Hope you enjoyed yourself. It was a little lighter on the action, but honestly, I think our last 3 episodes have kind of been nonstop combat. So it's kind of nice to
Yeah.
take a breath for a little while and just kind of live with these characters a little. So that's hopefully Calderon itself feels a little more lived in, and the world feels a little more lived in. And next time we'll take a look at another section of this world in the north. Stormhold, Kalefell, and maybe even the necropolis of Barrow, if depending on your very good choices that you make. And with that being said, no, it's a promise. With that being said, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. If it was your first time or you've been here a lot, if you donated, if you followed, if you chatted, used channel points, subscribed, any of that good stuff, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We would just be shouting into the void without you. And so thank you so much. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. Next Tuesday is Missing Numbers, our ongoing Pokemon Eldritch horror tinged TTRPG game that I get to play, and I don't have to run it. That's a lot of fun. Heck yeah. Tomorrow night is Fury Brick Road. That is our Wizard of Oz D&D 5e game. Takes place in the Double Critical Adventures in Oz setting, which actually just finally released. So the players are going to be using the actual version of the book.
Whoa.
Not just homebrewing it. Yeah. It's just very exciting. They're going to get to actually mess around with it, which that's going to be really cool. Join us for that if you want to. Sunday is Nephilim, our sci-fi game. And then next week, Missing Numbers and Pulp Diction, our Call of Cthulhu game. And I think they're doing an extra long session because they missed like the last 2. And it might be the last session. They're getting close to finishing. Anyway, thank you so much. If you want to keep up with us and know what we're up to, you can follow us on Twitter, or feel free to join our Discord community. Discord community is a very laid back, friendly place. People just sort of talk about whatever. A lot of talk about games. Sometimes people look for players for games. That's actually been happening a lot recently. So there are a lot of good opportunities. If you want to play something, go ahead and hop in there and find the looking for group channel, and there'll be people running games. Thank you so much, everybody. I think that's it. Gen Con's over. We don't have to plug that anymore. The videos are up on the YouTube channel. If you want to, did I make a YouTube command?
Did you?
Nope, I didn't. But you can, if you scroll down, you can find the link that has the little YouTube icon and go to that. And that's where all the old sessions are and also the panels from Gen Con. So go check that out, you crazy kids. Thanks so much for joining us. We are going to call it a night. Say good night, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good one. See you next time.
Oh boy.
Bye.
Bye.